about that because they've already shown that they're racist. Because it's like it's just crazy. The things that people say on this platform, I know that they wouldn't say in real life. I know that average white guy is not going to go up to a black guy in the middle of New York City and be like, "Hey, you're an N-word," and I know that no one's going to walk up to an immigrant and say, "Hey, you need to leave," right? There's maybe some bold people out there that will say it, but not these wise guys that sit on this platform and talk caca all day. Like, so I just wanted to tell you guys that what you guys are doing is great. I think that you're on the right side of history in terms of, I think you guys are like protecting the platform and, sort of like protecting Elon because, you know, look, I'm a guy that I drive a Tesla, right? I have Starlink. I'm a huge fan of Elon. Why? Because he's added so much value to us. If you invested in Tesla years ago, you should be rich by now. If you're on this platform and you're using it the right way, you're going to get so many people to follow you, so many people interested in your products. If products is what you have to sell. But if you come to this platform to just like use this hate against people and just use it in every wrong way possible, then yes, you should be demonetized. They should take your blue tick away because you don't deserve it. And I just don't get why people think that free speech equals hate speech, or that, oh, I'm going to use my free speech and expect to get all of the privileges that everyone else is getting. No, it doesn't work that way. So I think that all these people just need managers. I think they need PR people. I think they need to sit down and kind of reflect, look in the mirror and ask themselves, what exactly are they trying to accomplish on this platform? Someone like me, I hope to add value to people in one way or another. If I have any products, I'll be sure to put it out on this platform. If I have any content, I love this platform, for all the content that you can produce in terms of video and everything that they've, done to kind of like revitalize all of that. I love using spaces. I love connecting with people. But just imagine the people that you hurt whenever you speak about a race or you call people certain names or whatever. I think that's gotten a little bit out of hand. So yeah, use your free speech all you want. Say whatever you want, but don't expect a blue check. Don't expect to be monetized. Don't expect all of these things if you're a brand risk, because I'm pretty sure this is the reason why Jack Dorsey only wanted celebrities and people of the government to have these blue checks, was because these people had managers and they had people to check them whenever they got out of line. But obviously now, Elon Musk just, kind of, I think he sent the message and everyone's getting it. So, so again, guys, thank you so much for having me on the stage right now. I'm privileged to be here. If there's any questions or anything else, I'm going to be here, but I'm here to learn, to be quite honest.
Hey man, that
Nice,
was
nice.
really well said.
By the way, the thing about this is a good thing that you're bringing up. So, like with the censorship, all these people are crying, "Oh, we're being censored, we're being censored." It's like these people specifically have been putting out content on the platform where it's like, I'm even surprised that X didn't do anything about it, right? So, like this entire time, stuff that's being spread, which is really not the most high signal of stuff. It's like, okay, cool, you're posting it anyways, right? And then something is done, like it keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and then all of a sudden there is some sort of intervention. Now, then they cry censorship, but I can tell you for sure, there is no way that X would do anything without a reason. There is just no way. It can't. They absolutely can't. They can't. Absolutely, they can't. They wouldn't do anything without a reason. So when somebody, like for instance, you have a bunch of people that host a space that say, "Oh my God, I lost the golden check mark, and now everybody else has lost their affiliate badges, and everybody else has lost their premium. Oh my God, we're being politically targeted." Complete bullshit, by the way. Turned out that one of the people in that org made a mistake, had an accident, one could say, a little bit of a blunder. There was an address, personal information inside of a screenshot there, screenshot of FEC records. Of course, FEC records are public information, but the address, for instance, is personal information. And under, the rules of the platform, you are to redact that personal information. You're not supposed to spread personal information like that, right? And so what happened was they did that anyways. Then there was an action taken on that individual, which then reflected, of course, on the org itself, because that's how the policy works as well. It seems, according to Jordan, of course. He has multiple orgs, so he'd be able to tell you best. But realistically, that's what happened, and that's why they lost the gold check mark, and that's why all of that happened for the conservatives
Yeah,
review
when
account
you
specifically. There is
when
always going to
you
be a reason.
yeah, when you sign up for X or when you sign up under an org account, there are terms and service which most people don't even look over. They just click on, accept. But if you look at it, it does actually specifically state things like this, say this isn't allowed. Um, but like the FVC records thing, the X terms of service was very clear about how even if it is public information, uh, X can still take action if you do post an address just because of the risks that it provides.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
And I mean that makes and I mean that just makes a lot of sense, because if you're like a part of an organization or you are the head of the organization, obviously there has to be some type of an investigation to see what exactly is going on. And I'm sure that once they investigate and they see that maybe it's just one person, that needs to be kind of like reprimanded, I'm sure that they'll give them their badges back. I'm sure that there's going to be some type of solution. But the hammer had to come down at one point or another because it's just gotten out of hand. And I'm just getting tired of people saying free speech, free speech. Yeah, say whatever you want, but you're not gonna get the blue check. Like I would, if I was Elon, I would just go out and just say it. Like, if you are a brand risk, if you are making my platform look bad in any shape or form in terms of you saying things against people's races or religion or whatever it is, yeah, you can say those things. Say it all you want, but you're going to be in oblivion. You're going to be out in Mars or Jupiter. You're not going to be where you are visible to everybody else because people come to this platform from all shapes. I mean, just imagine your first day on this platform, right? Oh, I just signed up for an X account. Holy crap! What is this? What is this? What is this? You're out of there. So thank God we have enough, crazy nuts around that, kind of like just stick by. But I mean, I just think that it's ridiculous. And I knew at one point or another, and I told people, they're giving you guys the leash. They're giving you guys rope for you to hang yourselves with. You just don't understand what's going on. But I've seen it for a while because it's just like at one point or another, when do advertisers just say this is crazy? This is just it's too much, right? And I'm sure that Elon's gotten the phone calls. I'm sure that Elon's probably already put his hand in the fire for everyone, right? So the least that we could do is just be courteous and just say, and be thankful for what he's done. But I think that all of this stuff is just getting out of hand, and I think that people kind of forget who Elon is, what he's about, what he's done, and
And,
something
and,
so
and one thing that people
small.
need to
I
remember
think
is if you want to cry censorship, how about this? How about this? You take the same stuff which you're posting already and try and post that elsewhere and see how long. Let's see how well that goes. We'll see how well that goes.
also not to mention, I think a lot of people are kind of being ungrateful, being like, we supported, Twitter back when all the advertisers left and things like that. Online services almost entirely make money through advertisers. Even at its peak, Twitter/X were not making that much money from subscriptions,
Where I
right?
can tell
So
you,
it was,
as someone who runs an absurd amount of ads, brand integrity is everything. When you join an organization, you're linking up with all the people in there, and it takes one
yeah,
bad chain to fuck it all up.
yeah, exactly. And if you have like a platform, the people that are paying for a premium are not really making you that much money. So this was something that Elon and his investors had to basically bankroll for the time being while the advertisers were away. And he had to tell them, to go fuck themselves. And, you know, the platform wasn't fully sustainable. And yeah, I think a lot of them are being quite ungrateful uh, for the fact that they even have this access, considering a lot of them aren't even allowed on other platforms. A lot of them aren't even allowed on Rumble, right? Because
That's the funny part.
Rumble specifically disallows anti-Semitism, right? So a lot of these people that were banned permanently aren't even allowed on a platform like Rumble. So I don't know why these people cry and whine, considering there isn't any other platform where they would be allowed on.
They're used to the comfortability of
Well,
the app. They just think, it'll be like that forever, and not realizing you say one bad thing and it's going to be over.
Even
yeah.
Yeah,
then, it
Well,
has to
I
be like a
mean, the
shit ton of bad
paragraph is
Brad,
right
things.
there.
Actually, it's like a shit ton of bad things that occur because, I mean, look, with various people, you can like, here, for instance, if they wanted to permanently suspend someone like Laura Loomer, they absolutely could. They absolutely could if they wanted to, because by their own policies, they should, as a matter of fact. But they're not. They don't, because they value because there is a certain that there is free speech absolutism. There are just house rules at the same time as well. If you're not going to obey the house rules, that's going to be a bit of a problem. It's like when you get invited over to somebody's house and then someone says, "Make yourself at home." That doesn't mean, "Oh, hey, you know what I'm going to do? You see that table over there? Yeah, I'm going to get butt ass naked and start salsa dancing for no fucking reason on top of that thing at like 1 a.m." Okay? That's not what was fucking meant. That's not what was meant. So to stop such things from happening, you have terms of service that you agree to when you sign on to a platform and subsequently use it, right? And so when you then disobey and you break the house rules, the house will respond, give you a slap on the wrist, and then maybe you get a chance. It depends on the severity, of course. Like for instance, if you blatantly dox, yeah, you're gone forever, gone, finished, and rightfully so. Or if you do platform manipulation, same shit, gone forever. They got rid of the people that were spamming all of the steak ads because it did come out that they were all controlled by the same individual. I mean, obviously, and that account selling, account buying was happening. People go, "Oh wow, well that was never there." Yes, it was. Yes, it was. It was there the whole fucking time. Account trading is not allowed. You are not allowed to sell handles. It's just not. You know. But they completely forgot about that. Everybody forgets about that because they don't read the rules. So places do have rules, and it's a good thing because if they weren't, then the whole thing would turn into a cesspool, and you would have no more good content on the platform at all because all of the people that actually want to contribute to something good, they can't find it because there's so much noise. It's just complete fucking chaos. There needs to be a little bit of order in the system, and that's what these rules are for.
yeah, we'd be Gab,
Well,
essentially. Like, look at Gab. That's true free speech, but nobody wants to use it because it is indeed a cesspool. And, people play this disingenuous game where they're like, "Oh, well, I don't see any racism going on," or, "Oh, I didn't see that." Well, no, yes, you did. Because, again, I saw the post and a bunch of other people see this stuff. Like, people aren't just complaining for no reason, but, people always act like and play these little disingenuous games. And then at the end of the day, what they don't realize is that you realize you people have like absolutely no power over Elon, right? Like you're complaining about him on his own platform. The man will be a part of Maka, whereas you haven't even gotten in the club yet. Like you aren't even there. He's paid a stake. Trump is not about it. It's like what they say, it's like what they said back at the end of World War I. The friendship when Britain was trying to make friends with people, and they made a deal with the Arab states, and they made a deal with France. Like the friendship of France is like worth 10 Arab states. So the friendship of an Elon Musk to Trump is literally worth, whether or not it's true friendship or it's a convenient one, it's literally worth its weight in gold. He's not about to piss off Elon just for a bunch of people who think that they have power, even though they don't. Elon can step away from politics and he'd still be rich. So he has no need to feel the pressure. So people acting like they're literally holding him accountable, or they're acting like, "Oh, we're getting sick and tired of you, Elon." Well, go to the other
It's all
platforms that
bullshit.
want
It's
you
the
on.
minority anyways. It's a very small minority that is being so extremely noisy. I've been saying this for quite a while now. And it's just that. I mean, it's always going to be the same people repeating the same bullshit. And it's ironic because you'd have people on the fringes of a movement unite with other people of fringement, like other fringe people of other movements, right? That's what we're seeing right now. That's why you see people on the right that are the fringe uniting with people on the left who are the fringe. When you see things like that happen, you start to understand what's actually going on. Because who's for who here? Really, I'm not a person who puts sides with anyone politically. I'm just a person who has standards, who has principles. That's why, like, when it comes to anything, like, look, I have been shitting. Like, I had the conversation space for quite a while, and I've shat on the left on many different occasions in many different ways. And now, just so happens that these are the fringe people, right? I will always shit on the fringe people, but then I will also have people who are far leftists on, like, say, for instance, somebody like Destiny. Right. I actually enjoy when he comes around because I think it's kind of funny. I never want to have an argument with him. I actually want to have a different discussion. We could even have policy discussions, but I don't want to have policy discussions. I'd rather like to have a personal discussion with him because that's actually fun for me. Because at the end of the day, if we're going to fight each other with policy, we already know how that's going to end. Literally nowhere. But if we're going to have a personal discussion, that's where the fun begins. I think it's very fruitful. I think it's very hilarious. And I think it's very nice. It doesn't matter, right? So when you have other people who are on the fringes and who are completely illogical, if they're on the left, I shout on them. They're on the right, I shout on them. I'll shout on anyone. I will shout on literally fucking anyone if they're being an absolute fucking idiot. Okay, it just happens. I don't care who you are, even if you're my friend. I'm going to do that because it's constructive and because it has to happen. Because who else is going to do it?
Oh yeah, how many times have I shit on you? How many times have you shit on me?
Exactly. It's fucking perfect. And at some point, there's like this kind of actualization that takes place where everything is balanced and where all the weak parts of everyone's, existence are just like kind of optimized out of the system, right? Like, for instance, massive egos, ignorance, that kind of stuff, unrestrained temper, blah, 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 whatever else. That's the kind of stuff that I had a bit of an issue with, like the unrestrained temper thing, because, you get hot-headed after a while when you deal with a shit ton of problems. It just kind of happens because, like, if you're under attack from many different directions at the same time, it doesn't feel good and it's kind of annoying. You kind of deal with it, but at the same time, you kind of don't. And other people, it's the worst fucking part. Again, like I said before, it's the censorship problem where people say, oh, hey, I'm being censored, I'm being this, I'm being that. And it's the same people who will basically mobilize their cult following to then somehow bully someone else of a different opinion off the platform. I've seen this happen many times for no fucking reason at all, just because they disagree. And this will happen on both sides. And as a matter of fact, I must say, no one on the left has ever gone after me as hard as these fringe people have in the recent days, realistically. And at the same time, those fringe people who are extremely anti-government, no government on the planet has ever gone after me like that, practically even at all. And I'm not saying too many nice things about governments either, But this shit needs to have you think, because I think that people individually, especially people with a very strange understanding of the world, which is more or less incorrect, these people are more dangerous than a large government entity. Because guess what? The large government entity is shaped by people. That's the idea. It's a gigantic corporation. That is literally the fucking idea. That is the purpose, right? You vote for certain people, and then those people shape the system in the way that they promise to shape it, and that's it. That is that, right? So it's people that are the threat. And to me, that's exactly how it is. I've been attacked more by these fringe fucking people than governments. That's insane. That's actually fucking insane.
Well, it's like some of it
The
feels
governments
like
fucking protect me, as a matter of fact, in a sense, because they have law. They have laws, they have rules, and they actually obey them. The lawless and those who keep ignoring rules and are generally ignorant to that which is surrounding them, these people will completely fuck you up. More than the government would, depending on, of course, which government you live under, right? There are exceptions. There are exceptions, right? It depends on which government it is. Right? Say if you live in China, for instance, they say something fucked up about the Chinese government, they will fucking come after you 100%. If I criticize the American government a little bit, there's less of a chance that they will come after me because, that's just free speech, right? The Chinese government, no, zero fucks given, zero fucks given. As a matter of fact, even if there would be feds here listening to this conversation, which I don't know if that is the case or if that's not, that doesn't even bother me. Because I don't see it as a fucking threat. Because there are standards and there are rules and there are protocols that are being followed. But these fucking people, they have no rules, no protocols, no standards, no principles, no fucking nothing. Nothing at all, other than their egos and a strange opinion of the world. And that's it. That's dangerous.
They've kind of been spoiled by all the freedoms that their country provides them.
Yeah.
Ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, and I was gonna say it's almost like this very raw form of tribalism that's masked, underneath whatever ideology they want to say they're in. But like people that are saying they're MAGA or whatnot, and then are pushing people in this sort of direction. Well, they are pushing people in that sort of direction. It just to me, it just feels like they're like, oh, we don't want anyone else in our family, in our tribe that we have over here. Don't get near it. Don't change it. How dare you change it? Get out of here. And you be like people are saying, oh yeah, we're gonna remove Elon from MAGA. And I'm like, That's how."
Yeah, and the thing is, they're going after JD Vance now, which is incredible. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, JD Vance is our vice president elect, and he has sacrificed so much. And I'm very bothered with the way Usha has been treated. I have a lot of family friends who are tied to Usha's family, and they just tell me all the time, like, we love America, we're loyal to this country, we're of a different religion, fine, different race, fine, but like we've been standing up for what makes this country great. Like, Usha's a great legal scholar. She's a terrific woman. She's a really based conservative. She's a family woman. She has great children. She's been a very dutiful wife. I mean, she represents, I think, like the best of America. And, JD Vance is honestly, I think, just a fabulous guy. Like, he just knows so much. And we're very blessed, I think, as a country, to have a guy like him. And for people to suggest, he's like a monarchist or he's trying to undermine the republic, I'm starting to wonder if these guys are even mega at all,
Well,
the
what's
detractors.
worrying about the Vance situation to me is like as soon as I saw Vance enter the scene, a year ago or whatever, and got big, I was like, holy hell, this guy's like one of the best talkers, like knows how to counterpoint any sort of ridiculous, illogical, logic traps that the media might try to throw over anyone else. I was like, this guy's actually like the young face of the MAGA movement. Maybe there's actually a chance that something goes on after Trump that actually it doesn't just land in the hands of the old Republicans like Mark Rubio or something like that. I'm like, okay, well, this guy's got the chaps for it, and for some reason he's getting attacked left and right now. Yeah, as if he should be thrown out of the White House, and that worries me because I don't see that should be the case at all. I'm really hoping that is just a very very small minority that's very loud right now about that.
The very ironic thing to me about this whole conflict is that I feel in a way it may have been caused by probability, because I think a lot of these influencers, but particularly the ones who are hating on Elon and such, they basically all, when they heard this controversy, they all made like a value judgment, and they asked themselves like, okay, what can I say in this situation that will retain as much of my audience as possible? And some of them are going to be against Elon, some are going to be pro Elon, because a lot of them think this way. A lot of them just think, what's going to appeal to the audience. They don't even necessarily have their own. I mean, I'm not saying all of them, but like some of them do think this way, right? So my thought process here is that if they're all doing this and they're all doing this at the same time and they have no coordination or anything, and like half of them go one way, half of them go the other way, this literally just has this like chemistry like reaction and creates this flame war where, well, now I have to choose between this person and this person, and we have shared audience people, so we have to argue with them, and it spirals out of control. There's really it's almost like they don't necessarily have the control over like how people are going to react, obviously. So when everyone just gets pulled into all this at the same time, it's like to me it's just like it's effectively like a barrel of TNT going off. I don't even know how much it realistically has to do with our own exact opinions.
Yeah, well, I mean, it
Guys,
also
can we
comes down to
stop
election.
talking about H-1B visas? Every reasonable person, we've all seen this argument happen for the last 7 days, and every reasonable person believes that we need to bring intelligent, competent people with a good culture to the United States. And it's not a mutual exclusive thing because we can also improve the culture and education of American citizens who are already in the country at the same time. Like, do we need to continue to litigate this? I think we just need to
Absolutely
wait
not,
until
man. Like, I
January
think we can
20th
bury
and
this
just
fucking horse.
end it.
I think we can bury this fucking horse, man. I'm tired of zombie horses. We're no longer going to have the fucking H1B discussion. It's very simple. What we need, a bit of a reform. We need not only an H1B reform, but we also need a fucking reform on education in the United States, because there are a lot of people in the United States that have the potential to become highly skilled individuals, but if the education system sucks by default, there is no way that these people will ever become highly skilled in the first place, right? Because if countries other than the United States have a higher quality of education, then of course they're going to have more skilled people who would like to work in the United States, right? It makes a lot of fucking sense. So
It's actually interesting when you said that because a lot of the same people who would decry the American education system and say it's absolute horseshit, simultaneously don't seem to realize that means that it's worse than other education systems, which means that other people would be trained better coming into the workforce.
exactly.
So
Well,
it's
the
done.
thing I don't quite understand is that what is the company supposed to do with so many vacancies? Are they supposed to not like hire talent? Are they just supposed to, go belly up and let their company fail and not have the revenues to
Well,
succeed?
the
But
thing is,
the
the
presupposition,
problem is that there is a lot of job vacancies. Companies are looking for employees and they can't find them. But also another problem is that a lot of people are applying, but they can't get jobs. Um, so I think the argument is that the people that aren't, even getting a call back, those people should be given a chance.
That's why we
That's
have to
what
get rid
I
of
would say.
DEI.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's an
so
HR
yeah.
problem. We need HR reform. I agree.
Well, I mean that should be where the argument is being had, but it's not. Instead, it's being used as an attack vector against Elon Musk because, of course, again, a lot of people do not like the fact that there's this young, well, relatively young upstart in politics now that's essentially right by Trump's side. If you look at the New Year's post, he's literally right there. So a lot of people are very pissed off and they feel like, oh, it should be me there, or it should be somebody that I like there, and they're going to use whatever
I
they
think, yeah, I think that's part of
can.
it, Malcolm.
By the way, Malcolm, you're breaking up like
I think
heavy.
that's part of it, Malcolm. And I also think
Yeah,
part of it
sorry,
is
I'm driving.
I wouldn't be surprised if there weren't some underhanded behind the tables deals done from left side money to try to create this sort of divisiveness because this is the perfect attack vector. This is literally.
Yeah,
I mean, do you
well,
guys
that's
want
why
to
the
know what
media
the
is not involved.
do you guys want to know what the beauty of this is, though? I voted for Trump in 2016 and 2020, and I remember, everyone saying, especially the left, that, Trump supporters are racist. These people are racist. And I know that they were talking about a fraction of, a huge fan base, right? Or a huge base of voters. Well, now this fringe group that you guys are mentioning, they're going to be scapegoated because they're obviously showing their true colors right now, and this has nothing to do with Elon Musk or Donald Trump. This has everything to do with race and immigration. And these are people who are blatantly racist. I mean, they all you have to do is look through half of these people's, Twitter pages, and you will see, or their X pages. I don't like to use that word Twitter anymore because this is X. You look through their pages and you see who they are. So voila, there we go, guys. Now, if the left want to call anyone racist, well, there you go. There they are. And now, if they want to do away with MAGA, they don't want to be a part of MAGA anymore. Well, perfect, great. Now we have the people who we can call the scapegoats or whatever you want to call them, but now they've been identified.
Yeah, and it's just too much. I mean, look, when you have a scenario where everybody's going insane, it's just absolutely too much. And for the first time, it's interesting because we had this problem for like 2 days where everybody was just talking about irrelevant issues, and then finally, I think on day 3 it was, we had a discussion about policy. Finally, while everybody else was like done with their baseless accusations, we finally had a discussion about policy. Although it wasn't entirely fruitful, I think it actually finally said, you know what? These people actually don't know anything. They just want to complain for the sake of complaining, and they're basically using X as this gigantic echo chamber for gossip. That's exactly what this has turned into, and it's fucking annoying as hell.
Has there been a discussion of policy with regards to the improvement of education in the US? Have people made concrete proposals about how to do that?
Nope. Not as far as I can see.
No, I
I
literally
made a
made mention
list
of it
of
the other
things.
day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I made mention of education reform literally when everybody kept saying, "Why are we giving the jobs to H-1B people first versus Americans?" Well, you're not giving if you're not finding qualified people and you need the job done yesterday, I mean, who are you going to hire? It's just that
Mm.
simple, and a lot of people haven't really been from a lot, like, let's just be honest, like the journalism and everybody talking about an H-1B has never been in a mandatory, like in a manager's position. They've never been in a director's chair, and they've never been CEO of anything, right? So
Precisely.
when you're looking at it down, the time that it's going to take to train somebody that already has experience versus somebody that's out of college that has no experience, and the cost of what it's going to take to do it and the time frame you have to think, is the money going to outweigh the time? More than likely, okay, that's the option. Or is it more cost effective to get this person here fresh out of college? That's all a business is thinking about. There's no emotion behind it. It's just that, and it's just that simple. And until people realize, wait, well, if I get smarter, if I take another course, if I learn this, maybe I'll get ahead. Then that's where, we can kind of start saying, okay, well, you deserve the job because you did X, 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 and X, which is what? Based off merit, right? So if you want the people that are coming in to have the best merits in the world, what do you think the companies are already doing?
Right. So for education reform, I think what we could do is mathematics need to be better. People who are actually qualified need to be teachers, not the people who are those who can't teach people. Fuck that. All of them need to be, we need to get rid of all of them. It's fucking useless. It's basically a grift, and it impacts the worst part of the population, which is the children, right? You don't victimize these people. Fuck that shit. Okay. So first of all, you get rid of those people. They're not supposed to be in there in the first place. Make mathematics better. Make sure that these teachers are actually competent and that they're capable of using metaphors properly to explain what mathematics is, because otherwise the children will simply not fucking get it. Because having them run the same thing over and over again and not explaining to them how things work will yield literally no positive results of any kind, other than people who are basically going to become insane and very, very bitter. Then on another subject matter is this weird fucking social nonsense. Delete it, burn it to the ground. Fuck all that shit. The only thing that you should have is like, okay, so if you're going to be in America, I think there should be a few values that people agree with, right? So, of course, you can have your own culture still, and I think it's important. But like basically what Auda and I were like suggesting with how you could create an adjacent religion, like we were talking about basically forming a type of religion where, nutrition and health is at. But if you have your own religion already, you can still do whatever it is that your religion demands off of you, and it doesn't have any conflicts with the secondary religion that you take on effectively. It's almost like it's almost like a second passport if you think of it that way. So, I think it
What
should
you
be,
actually
ingrained in
need
people's
is
heads. No, no, no. I think we should ingrain in people's heads the idea and understanding of what the American culture is and how America was actually built, right? Not just DEI shit and all that kind of stuff where you like try to hype up certain people in history even though they didn't really contribute as much as they did. Actual history needs to be taught. No beautification of history. It needs to be brutal, and it needs to be explained exactly as it happened. No mercy, because you have to be ready for reality. Then there needs to be practical application of that which has been taught. So say, for instance, when you are going to do carpentry, if you're not going to physically do anything with wood, then you're not going to know shit. There's a bunch of people who I know are like fucking certified as a carpenter and have never done anything with wood at all. I'm like, what the fuck did you do? Is this theoretical physics?
I
This is
think
like
we
string theory for wood. What the fuck?
I
What
think
the
with
fuck?
I think string
I think
theory of wood. Yeah, so I think for history as well, you got to be careful because history, what they say is
Yes.
it's like you have a lot of bullshit there. Like the entirety of the 1619 project is bullshit, and that's like the only type of history that's taught in universities nowadays.
I think like books from
Um,
the 60s and the 50s are usually pretty accurate when it comes to history, in my opinion. Everything that came after that is just like a reinterpretation to make it more politically correct, which means it's basically garbage. Like anything that is rephrased or lensed in a different way to make it more politically correct is no more than fiction and the worst version of it, because you make people believe that fiction is reality. So it's dog shit by default. So all of that, you need to get rid of this for sure. Old books are actually very good. I collect old books because that is the only knowledge that still makes sense. All the modern books have absolute fucking nonsense in them, right? And then also I think that certain aspects of history should be taught as well, but there also should be a type of adaptability to how education works as well, because let's imagine that you have an individual that excels in a very specific area, very much so to the point where it's like, man, this guy's going to be really useful in this. Let's imagine that somebody is an absolute cracked computer programmer. This guy needs to, of course, work more in computers and become a specialist in this area. What if somebody is a good doctor? What if somebody is a person who works well with timber or anything like that? Okay, or manufacturing, understands engineering, all of this kind of stuff. Once you start to see these traits, you immediately shape the education a little bit differently. Now, of course, you ask the child, be like, hey, man, you have your aptitudes are more in this direction, and you could do a tremendous amount of good. This is the kind of work you'd be doing. Would you like to do this in the future? And then you basically kind of shift them towards that direction. Then you have probably some sort of partnership that you can have with certain companies so that you can do internships. Because, hey, if you're already going to pay for college and all that kind of shit, why not already work for free? Because basically what you're doing here is you are sitting in a room with a bunch of uninspiring teachers telling you a bunch of shit that you're never going to use practically. So why don't you do actual practical work in line with your normal your natural aptitudes? Because if you do that, then you also have experience, and you can pass that off as something like, hey man, by the way, I used to have this internship at your company. Here are my scores. Ah, pretty cool. You're hired. That kind of stuff, right? So that is pure
I
merit. It's
feel
very
like
difficult.
your
It's
your
very high.
recommendations are too amorphous. They're
Hmm?
not sufficiently specific to actually be productive. Like it's like, oh, we
How
need to
so?
improve history. We need to change. Well, I feel like you need actually more concrete, specific policies to actually improve education. One of the greatest ironies of this debate is that one of the best ways to fix education in America is to actually import teachers on H-1B visas. That's actually very concrete. You'd be like, we need more math teachers in this country, and let's do it via the H-1B visa, which is ironic and hilarious. Or just something very simple. It has to be
Well,
simple, it has to be specific. And another example would
Yeah,
be,
but the
let's get
specificity here is
rid
that you
of
remove all the
foreign
stuff that's
language
irrelevant.
education and
Yeah, the
replace it
teachers
with
is
math.
okay. Yeah, so what I've stated are a bunch of suggestions. Now you're just talking about the execution of exactly what I've stated. You're not stating anything different, actually. You see, you're basically
No,
saying,
no, but
okay,
I
we need better
am,
teachers
because
in
I
certain.
think that in order for the conversation to be productive, you have to invoke specific
And
policy changes
we can
rather
get
than
to the
saying something
specificity. Yeah,
like,
we can get to the specificity after we've outlined. And it's like with a game where you set the ground rules first, and then you say, okay, how are we actually going to play this? Here's the rules. Here's the resources I have. Let's see what we can do with this. How can we play this game in the most practical way? So you're actually not disagreeing with me. You think you're disagreeing with me, but that's actually not the case. You're
oh
just
no, I'm
optimizing
not
the thing that I
disagreeing
said.
with you. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
trying to let's go to the second level of the game. That's what I
Mhm.
think is actually
All right,
productive
there
at
we
this
go.
point, right? Let's make it specific.
Yeah, yeah. So, for instance, with the history part, what I specifically stated is that you get all the modern books, you just like trash all that because it's bullshit. Same thing also applies to health, which I think will tie into, what RFK Jr. is going to do, because a lot of the studies on health that are done today are complete fucking bullshit. I mean, imagine that you live in a world where basically it is stated that eating eggs is bad for you, to the point where everybody vilifies cholesterol, which, by the way, is one of the reasons why cancer is so why cancer is high, because I believe that there is a specific score that you have for how much cholesterol should be in your body for you to basically have the natural resistance against cancers, and many people are below that, which would also explain why cancer is so widespread. Now, of course, you
But
have other
Adrian,
factors such as the sugar and such as all this kind of weird stuff that you put in your body all the day, but
but
that is just part of
Adrian,
the
I
problem,
was
not the whole problem.
explicitly told that eating steak gives me diabetes. Are you telling me that was wrong?
Oh my god.
That's actually true, by the way. Somebody legitimately claimed that you get diabetes from eating fucking steaks. Yeah,
Doc,
that's
quote
how
unquote
bad it has gotten.
experts. Quote unquote experts.
Yep. Fucking pretty.
But
The
that's
only
not really
way.
how you're going to fix education in this country, because that's not the root cause. The root cause is insufficient math education, not enough of it, not enough good teachers,
Mhm.
not whether or not eggs are going to give you a heart
No, no, that
attack.
was an
That's
example. No, no,
stuff
no,
that
no,
can
no,
be
no. You
left
don't
to the
understand. I
free
was making.
market.
No, no, no. You don't understand. I was making an example as to why you'd want to get rid of certain things, because if you don't have an example as to why you'd want to get rid of certain things, then you don't have a reason. You have to be specific.
But I
That's
think
why I
it's a
told you that.
bad example
Not
because
really.
it's
No,
hard to
it's a good example for
falsify
why a lot of no, it's because
versus.
it's a lot of modern science is basically pseudoscience. It's bullshit. That's my claim, and that
My
holds up.
point, though, is that if you want to improve education, you have to change the things that almost everyone agrees on. Like math is something that there isn't a conversation about. Like no one thinks 2 + 2 = 5, but there is legitimately a
Uh,
large percentage of the population, even people who
uh,
are
yeah,
academics
you'd be
at
surprised
Harvard
actually.
who believe that like eggs are bad for you. So it's just the
Yeah,
wrong
that's
thing to
another
focus
level.
on.
Yeah, that's another level of the education system. It's like it's a byproduct. Now, I'm just saying that if you have bad information, and you're going to use that to educate, then you can make your education system as efficient as you'd like. It's still going to be shit at various many levels. You need to get rid of that. That's why I was saying certain pieces of information that are fundamentally fucking useless need to be taken out. Also, at the nutrition level, at the dietary level, it's all the same thing. It's part of
I
the same
agree
problem.
with that,
Just
but
like
the
with history.
problem is that it's really hard to take information out of the education system. So you should focus on the stuff
How
that
is
you
that
have the
hard?
highest confidence.
Yeah, but how is that hard
Why
though?
is it hard?
You take the book and you
Because you
destroy it.
have to change an entire country's education system. You have to teach teachers that what you thought before is wrong. And so
You
it's
ever heard
hard
the,
to
have
do
you heard
that
the
because that's
problem,
literally
Why
across
would you
millions
want?
of
Why
people.
would you ever want to teach people misinformation? That doesn't make
exactly.
sense. If something's
Well,
Well,
wrong,
you can
And
that's
not
start at
not
the
what I
only
basic.
said.
any,
You can start
not
at the
only
basic
any.
level by making math more difficult, getting more qualified math teachers, getting rid of all the bullshit history, and getting rid of all the bullshit science. That's where we can
I agree
start.
with
Then we can
that.
talk. Then we can talk about. I think once we finish with that, okay, you make a good point about the scalability of the idea. Once we're finished with that, then maybe we can consider saying, let's have a different system as to how education works entirely by basically looking for people's aptitudes and finding something that is best suited for them based on the aptitudes that they have. Like say your computer programming. What's that? The examples I
Well,
mentioned
what I'm
before.
saying is, okay, so history even it's probably better than the eggs discussion, but history is really hard to sort out. Whereas just saying let's double the amount of time we spend on math, that's
Not
simple
really double the
and it's
amount of time, but
easy
make
and
the
it's
math a little
almost
bit more difficult.
everyone. Well, why not both?
Okay,
I
fair
feel like
enough.
we could probably use both.
Fair enough. I mean, we need to fill the social sciences dog shit space with something good.
Yeah, exactly. And even foreign language, just get rid of it.
Oh.
And the student debt thing, I brought that up earlier, but I don't think I fleshed it out in a way such that people can understand. Like
Mhm.
currently, anyone who's 18 years old, they don't even like when I was 18 years old, I signed up for a student loan. I did not understand what I was signing up for. And I'm generally like a smart person. Okay? And so when the US government guarantees student debt, you are preventing the university for being responsible for the quality of the education because regardless of whether or not they give a good education or a bad education, the university is going to get paid. Whereas if the university were giving loans to the students instead of the government, if they give someone a degree in women and gender studies and they're unable to ever pay back their college tuition because there are no jobs for people in women and gender studies, the university gets screwed. So they get a really so by preventing the government from guaranteeing student debt and pushing that to universities or even private lenders, it would greatly improve university education in the United States. And so that is like it's concrete, it's narrow, it's specific, and you don't need to get into the weeds and the difficulties of things like what history is true and what history is fake, which is a very complicated, difficult conversation to have. And so
I mean,
you
it
need those
depends. I mean, you
specific,
need people.
narrow things to improve education.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's a limitation on how scalable the vetting of history is because you basically would need like an information department, which is problematic because if the tables ever turn on that, oh boy, you're so fucked if that happens.
Right. That's my point.
If
So
you have
don't
a
do
fucking
history, don't
information
do
ministry, you're
eggs,
dead. You're
just
so
focus
cooked.
on numbers.
Hey, Adrian, look at my response to you.
To which thing? The thing I just posted?
Yes.
You motherfucker.
Molson, though, to your point, like if you want something very specific that can be done with the education system, I think it's just simply instilling critical thinking skills throughout every single grade of grade school, which is not done right now, and that would actually make a lot of people that doesn't almost then it wouldn't matter what data they take in, they would know how to process that data.
But that's like very easy to say, but extremely
Gonna
difficult to
fucking cook me
implement.
so hard
That's
here.
why I kept on bringing up the H-1B visa thing. Like you can't just like pull a switch and make all the teachers in our country like better at critical thinking and better at teaching those things.
No
And this is a
changes
problem that
overnight.
foreign
Oh, yes, you
countries
can.
often have.
Hmm?
No changes overnight though. Like no changes overnight. Any change that we do to the education
Yeah, but you
system,
have to have a concrete plan for how you're going to implement what you're saying we should do.
you
Yeah,
simply would
everyone
have to
agrees that like
implement
you
it
should
within
teach
all
better critical
within all the
thinking.
teaching certification programs. You literally would have to make sure that they have to know how to teach critical thinking.